I knew something was wrong the moment she started her story. Her laugh, sharp, polished, too loud, cut through the clinking of wine glasses and murmured conversations like a knife through silk. The ballroom glowed with warm amber light, filled with her colleagues from the marketing firm. Laughter rippled across the tables as my wife, Jessica, stood near the center, a champagne flute in one hand, her other hand gesturing animatedly. "And then," she said, chuckling, "he came home smelling like grease and asked if I wanted fries with dinner. That's my husband, our resident fast food philosopher." The group around her erupted in laughter. I froze mid-sip, the wine souring instantly on my tongue. I was that husband, the one she was mocking. The man who spent 12-hour shifts at a diner to make sure the mortgage was paid. The lights stayed on, and she could chase her big city dreams. She met my eyes for a second and looked away. That small flicker, that split second of avoidance, hit harder than the laughter itself. I felt the blood rush to my ears. The air around me thickened, suffocating. The room seemed to tilt, and the cheerful music playing through the speakers warped into an ugly buzz. Without saying a word, I set my glass down, stood up, and walked toward the exit. Her laughter followed me out. Outside, the night air slapped me in the face. The hotel's neon lights reflected off the rain-slick pavement, shimmering like oil. I could still hear the muffled hum of conversation behind the glass doors. For a long moment I just stood there, trying to breathe, trying to decide whether to be angry or heartbroken. This wasn't the first time she'd made a joke at my expense, but it was the first time it felt deliberate, cruel, public. I wasn't just her husband anymore. I was her punchline. A part of me wanted to go back in and demand an apology. Another part whispered, "Don't give her the satisfaction." So I walked. The rain had started, light but persistent. I didn't have an umbrella, but I didn't care. The water felt cleansing, washing away the humiliation, though it couldn't touch the ache that had rooted itself in my chest. I ended up at a late-night diner, a place that smelled like burnt coffee and melted cheese. It was quiet, empty except for a young couple in the corner booth. The waitress recognized me immediately. "Rough night, Tom?" she asked softly. I forced a smile. "Something like that." By the time I got home it was past midnight. Jessica wasn't there yet. Her car was gone, her vanity lights still glowing upstairs. I sat on the couch, soaked clothes clinging to my skin, replaying her laughter over and over until it didn't sound like her anymore. When she finally stumbled in, heels in hand, mascara smudged slightly, she froze when she saw me. "Tom," she said, voice careful, "why did you leave like that?" Why did I leave? I laughed, a low, bitter sound. Maybe because my wife was performing stand-up comedy about my life in front of her boss? She rolled her eyes, exhaling sharply. "Oh, come on. It was a joke. Everyone jokes about their spouses at work events. Don't be so sensitive." "Sensitive?" I repeated, standing now. "You humiliated me, Jess." She scoffed. "You humiliated yourself, Tom. You could have gone back to school, found a better job, done something more than flipping burgers. But no, you're content being comfortable." That word, comfortable, was her favorite insult lately. I stared at her, really stared, and something inside me cracked open. Not just from the insult, but from the realization that this wasn't the woman I fell in love with. Or maybe she was, and I just hadn't seen this part of her before. "I work so you can live this life," I said quietly. "Everything you have, Jess, the apartment, the car, the designer bags, comes from the man you laughed about tonight." She didn't reply. She just looked away again. That same flicker of guilt, or maybe indifference, passed over her face. And that's when I saw it. Her phone lighting up on the counter. Message preview. "Then, hope the party went well. Miss seeing you. Can't stop thinking about last night." I didn't move. I didn't breathe. When she noticed my eyes on the phone, her face went pale. "Tom, it's not." "Don't," I said, holding up a hand. "Please. Don't lie to me. Not tonight." Her silence was louder than any confession. I walked into our bedroom and started packing. My hands trembled, but not from rage, from disbelief. From the quiet shattering of every memory we'd built. She followed me, crying now. "It wasn't serious," she said between sobs. "I just needed someone to talk to. You don't understand what it's like. Feeling stuck, feeling like I'm the only one trying." Trying. I turned, my voice rising for the first time. "You were trying with him, Jess. Not with me." She flinched but didn't stop crying. "I didn't mean to hurt you. I didn't think you'd notice." That hurt more than the affair itself. I zipped my bag, took one last look around the room we once called ours, and said the only thing that felt true. "You laughed at me, Jess. But someday, you'll realize what you lost." Then I walked out. A week later I found an apartment across town. Small, quiet, but mine. I picked up extra shifts at the diner, started saving again. I didn't tell anyone what happened. Let her tell whatever version she wanted. But then came the company's annual charity gala, a big event covered by local media. Jessica had invited me months earlier. I obviously didn't plan on going. But when I got a message from her coworker Amy saying, "You might want to see this, curiosity one," I walked into the same hotel ballroom, wearing the same suit I'd worn the night she mocked me. The room went silent as soon as people noticed me. Jessica stood near the stage, mid-speech, holding a microphone. Her eyes widened when she saw me. "Tom," she said, faltering. "What are you doing here?" I smiled slightly. "Just came to drop something off." From my jacket pocket, I pulled out an envelope and placed it on the edge of the stage. It was the receipt for the $10,000 donation made under her name, the one she'd bragged about earlier that evening. "Figured since it came from my savings," I said evenly, "I should make sure people know where it really came from." The room murmured. Cameras clicked. Her face went crimson. But before I could leave, Amy's voice cut through the crowd. "Jessica, is that the same Ethan, from the accounting firm you've been spending your late nights with?" The room froze. Her mouth opened, then closed. Her boss frowned. The silence that followed was deafening. And for the first time, she couldn't laugh her way out of it. I didn't stay to watch her fall apart. I walked out the same doors I had that night weeks ago, but this time my steps were steady. The rain had stopped, and the air smelled clean, like something ending and beginning all at once. I didn't feel revenge. I didn't feel triumph. Just peace. Because sometimes silence says everything words can't, and that night it silenced everyone.